Hello, my name is Cesar Barroso. I will be talking today about the first game of the World Series that starts tonight between the Houston Astros and the Philadelphia Phillies. These two teams met in 1980 in the National League Championship Series, and that was probably for me the most exciting playoff there has ever been. Of the five games, four of them were extra innings. That was something unbelievable. And the Phillies ended winning 3 games to 2. And then they won the World Series commanded by Mike Schmidt and Steve Carlton and Manny Trillo and Gary Maddox and Big McBride and Bob Boone and all those wonderful guys they had. Well, tonight, the Phillies start their last effort to win it all. As I said in my first conversation, nobody or very few people thought the Phillies could have a chance to even go to the playoffs. And they made it. And after they made it, they started winning against teams like St. Louis, the champions, the Atlanta Braves, and the San Diego Padres. Now they are going against the Houston Astros, who won 106 games, 19 more games than what the Phillies did in this season, where they won 87 games. So, in theory, what chance could a team that ends up, let's say, 19 games below another team in the regular season, what chance does it have to beat them in the World Series? Well, the Phillies already beat the Braves, who won 101 games. They also beat the San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals, who had won several more games than them also. The Phillies are going to start tonight with Aaron Nola and the Houston Astros with Justin Verlander. This is what I want to talk mainly today about the chance of these teams with each of these starters, because I believe this is a World Series that is going to be dominated by the pitchers, and it's going to be a World Series of low scores because both teams have great starters and very good bullpens. Before we start talking about the pitchers for tonight, let's talk briefly about the offense, which is going to have a hard time for both teams because of the pitchers they're going to have to fight against. The Phillies have Bryce Harper, who is the man of the time, the man of the moment. This is why he signed for 13 years with the Phillies. And he is historically waiting for this moment, for this time of the year. And that's why he hit 419 in the playoffs, in the games they have played up to now, with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. And among those 11 hits that he got, not only the 5 home runs, but 6 doubles also. That's one of the best postseasons that anyone has ever had in baseball. Having 1.351 on base percentage plus slugging, which is eighth among the all-time leaders in this department. He hit 1.592 OPS against Atlanta in the 5 games they played, and he hit 1.250 against San Diego. So these are very impressive numbers, and I definitely think that even with the great Astros pitchers, this man is going to have the time of his life. He's 30 years old right now, and this is what he has been waiting for since he started playing in MLB. There's also Rhys Hoskins, who unbelievably in this postseason has hit the same number of homers and RBIs than Bryce Harper. He also has hit 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. Unbelievable. This is a man that is very streaky hitting, and I think that he is right now in probably one of the best streaks he's had in all this season. Then we have JT Realmuto, who is probably the game's best catcher. He also hit a couple of homers in this postseason and drove in very important runs. So we have these 3 main guys that are going to hit probably the Astros pitchers. The other offensive guys in the team, they might hit, but not so much, I think. Guys like Alex Bohm, Gene Segura, Kyle Schwarber, who hit also home runs in the postseason, and he was the National League leader in home runs this year. He's going to hit, but not as much because he hits in the very important moments, but his average has been low during the season and even in the playoffs, even though he drove in several runs also. The Astros have several good hitters also. The first man in the lineup, Jose Altuve, is one of the best hitters in this time. He has won batting titles. He has hit over 25 homers several times, including this year when he hit 28. We have also Jordan Alvarez, who is a very powerful slugger, who hit 37 home runs this year. And the Astros also have the right fielder Kyle Tucker, who drove in 103 runs in the season. And now they have this junior or rookie shortstop, Jeremy Pena, that was named the American League Championship Most Valuable Player. So it's going to be, let's say, very equal competition between the Phillies hitters and the Astros hitters. Anyway, I believe that Bryce Harper is in his year, in his moment, and that he could be the decisive factor in this World Series, the player that decides it all. Anyway, as I said at the beginning, the Phillies and the Astros are going to have their main force in their pitching. So the Phillies have probably, in my opinion, the three best starters in any baseball team. And that's why they are here in the postseason and in the World Series. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Ranger Suarez are, in my opinion, the best three pitchers, and especially for this time of the year, for this end of the season, where the physical conditions are very, very important. The bullpens are both very good. The numbers of the Astros bullpen have been one of the best in the history of the game. They have at least 5 great guys in the bullpen. So they have, starting with the closer Ryan Presley and Stanek and Neris, they have really a great bullpen. The Phillies have 2 of the best, let's say, pitchers in the bullpen with Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez. They also throw over 100 miles per hour. And they also have now David Robertson, and they have Noah Syndergaard, and they have also Zach Eflin, who was a very good starter for this team during 7 years. Now, let's talk about Aaron Nola and Justin Verlander. Verlander has had probably one of the best seasons ever in the regular season, where he had a 1.75 ERA, one of the lowest ever, in 175 innings. And Verlander started 28 games during this season. And of those 28 games, he allowed 2 or less runs in 22 of those games. In 11 of those games, he did not allow runs. And in 8 of those games, he allowed 1 earned run. This is one of the best seasons a pitcher has had. But let's see something. Verlander has been to several postseasons, and he has never been very good in these postseasons. Like with Detroit, he went to 5 postseasons, and in 3 of them, he had an ERA over 5. With Houston, he has been in 4 postseasons, and in 3 of them, he has had an ERA over 4. In 2019, he even lost 4 games for the Astros in that postseason. So Verlander has been a pitcher that, since he was younger, because he's already 39, he has not been good at the end of the season. And this year, he pitched 2 games. One, October 11 against Seattle, where he only pitched 4 innings, allowing 6 earned runs and 10 hits. He was really banged that day. And then in October the 18th against the Yankees, where he pitched 6 innings, allowing 1 earned run and 6 hits. So he has a 6.3 ERA in 2 games he has started in this 2022 postseason. So Is he going to be really the pitcher he was in the regular season? I'm not so sure about it. And especially, as I said before, with Philadelphia being in their time, in their moment, and especially Bryce Harper. Verlander had then this year 22 games allowing 0 or 1 or 2 runs. Several of these games were against very good teams like the Seattle Mariners, the Yankees, the Mets, and even Philadelphia, who he pitched in the 4th of this month of October, 5 innings, allowing no hits and no runs. Anyway, I'm going to briefly talk about this series, which would be important to analyze, to consider who could win this World Series. In this series, played this same month, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of October, the Phillies in the first game had not yet even classified for the playoffs. So they had to win against Houston. And that first game was pitched by Aaron Nola, who is going to be the pitcher today. And in that game, Aaron Nola pitched 6.2 innings, and he did not allow runs. And he only accepted 2 hits in those 6.2 innings. So the Phillies won that game 3-0. Kyle Schwarber hit a home run, 2 home runs, one starting the game and another one in the 8th inning, giving the Phillies the victory together with the other home run that was hit by Bryson Stott. The pitcher against Aaron Nola in that game was Lance McCullers, who pitched very well also because he really just accepted 1 run, which was the Schwarber's first inning home run. Then in October 4, after the Phillies had won the first game and assured to be going to the playoffs, they put a team without many of the starters like JT Realmuto, Rhys Hopkins, Gene Segura, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. These guys didn't play in the second game where Justin Verlander pitched. And as I told you before, he pitched without accepting any hits even in 5 innings. Yeah, but that was against a team that was already, after a whole season of fighting, they were resting mentally, and they had several of their starters out. So you cannot consider this an evaluation to try to apply it to the World Series that is going to be started to play tonight. In the 3rd game of this series, which was October 5, the Phillies lost 3-2. But the Phillies, they had a pitcher, which was Bailey Falter, that only pitched 1 inning, and it wasn't because he was really hit. Only one run came in against him. But then came Plasmayer, who was a pitcher that I almost didn't see all year with the Phillies. And he pitched 6 innings and gave up 3 runs. So I would say the Astros, even against this pitcher that did not have much experience, they only scored 3 runs. And the Phillies scored 2 earned runs against Phil Maton, who is the brother of Nick Maton, who is a Phillies outfielder. So with these 3 games that Houston and Philadelphia played, we could see that Austin Nola is a man that is going to be very tough to hit tonight. He is probably one of the best pitchers in all baseball, even though his record and even his ERA don't show that much. Because, look, this guy, Aaron Nola, he had 32 starts this year. In 18 of those starts, he allowed 2 runs or less. Of these games, he had 2 in April, 3 in May, 4 in June. In June, he had, let's say, a part of the season where he threw 40 innings, and allowed just 3 runs. This is something unbelievable. Almost unbelievable is Justin Verlander's season. Nola also had 2 games in July, 3 in August, 3 in September, and the only game that he pitched in October, allowing 2 or less runs. Of these games, in 8 games, he allowed 0 runs. He shut out the other team in 8 games. And in 7 games, he only allowed 1 run against very good teams. Like, for example, April 24, 0 runs allowed to the Milwaukee Brewers. May 8, 1 earned run allowed against the New York Mets. May 15, allowed 2 runs in that already talked about series with the Los Angeles Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, where the Phillies were 1 out of sweeping 4 games in Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers. The best team of the regular season with 1-0-1 victories. Well, this is where Aaron Nola pitched, and he allowed only 2 runs against Los Angeles with 4 hits, May 15. Then, in May 26, against Atlanta, in 8.1 innings, he was taken out of the game in the 9th inning. He allowed only 1 earned run and 5 hits against the Braves. Then, on June 8, 0 runs against Milwaukee. June 18, 0 earned runs against Washington. In 8 innings, the same amount of innings he pitched against Milwaukee. And then June 24, in 7 innings, 1 earned run against San Diego. July 17, he didn't allow runs, but that was the Miami Marlins, who is a team that is not as qualified as the other ones I named before. He also, on August 7, allowed 1 run against Washington, and also in August 13 and 25. In the 13, he pitched 8 innings against the Mets, allowing 1 earned run and 4 hits only. And then in August 25, he pitched 9 innings, the complete game, shutting out Cincinnati. And then on September 23, he pitched 6 innings, allowing 0 earned runs and 4 hits only against Atlanta, the world champions. And on October 3, he pitched 6.2 innings, allowing 0 earned runs and 2 hits against who? The Houston Astros at Minute Maid Park. So this is going to be definitely a great matchup. And I still am among the baseball analysts that consider that the Phillies can win the World Series. I thought of this since even the season when, as I told you in the first conversation we had, the Phillies this year, they decided to complete filling those 3 holes they had, which were the bullpen in the first place. They needed to have a better offense, and they needed a 4th and 5th starting pitcher. So let's wait, because I still know that majority of fans and analysts think the Astros are even going to sweep the Phillies. But as I said at the beginning, the Phillies have 3 of the best starting pitchers in baseball, and I think Aaron Nola today is going to do it again. I think this guy has really been preparing from all season to win today. So I hope that we all have a great time seeing this World Series. I think it's going to be real good, and I think the Phillies are going to win. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great night watching this first World Series game. Thank you very much.